Alright, one duplication. One duplication. Spell duplication. How does spell duplication work? Well, it duplicates every spell cast before it, which means if you have a spark bolt, you now fire 2 spark bolts. Yippee. Amazing. Why would you use this instead of Omega, which does cast a copy of every spell in your wand? Well, it adds less cast delay. That's one advantage. But what if you have both of these? Well, now you're firing 3 shots. But if you switch the order, you now fire... What is that, 6? I can check this one. Yeah, I'm firing 6 shots at the same time. Why is that? It just does, okay? It makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense. Now, what if you divide the spell duplication? Well, now you're firing 6 shots. Which makes sense. You know, you divide the one spell duplication, which then copies everything, including the divide by. So you get multiple spell duplication. What if you do the same with Omega? Well, you fire 7 shots. Because logic, you know? That makes sense. This fires 7. This fires 6. It just makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Now, when things get a little bit more complicated is when you add more divide by to things, you know? If you have divide by 2, divide by 4, which is spell duplication, you fire a lot more shots. How many? 16. Yeah, that's a lot of shots. If you have Omega, you fire 21 shots. Now, that's a lot of shots, you know. You have a ton of cast delay, but you fire a lot of shots. Also, they do 0 damage thanks to the divided bys, but you know. Now, what if you have both of these? You know? Divide by 2, divide by 4, Omega, spell duplication. Well, you fire even more shots. 27 should be specific. And what happens if you swap the order? It fires less shots, like usual. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, what if you add divide by 10? Now you fire a very large amount of shots. 58 should be specific. And if you swap them, you fire 41. Now it is 41 shots. This is 60. This is 41. Why is it different amount now? Why is this better now? I have no clue. Now, if you add phi to the mix, you are going to fire more shots. You know? 84. If you swap the order, 4. 84. 4. Does it make sense? It doesn't. Alright? It doesn't make sense. Now, another thing is that you can also add moo. Let's put this as a modifier there. Because at the moment, I am firing 4... Alright, let's switch this around. 84 spark bolts with 60 aiming arcs. That makes sense, you know? It causes a ton of lag because I have 60 aiming arcs on the wand. Now, what happens if we add moo? Every modifier type spell in the current one is applied to a projectile. Now, without it, I'm firing 84 spark bolts and 60 aiming arcs. With it, I'm firing 65 spark bolts with 65 modifiers. How did I lose spark bolts with that? How do I now fire less spark bolts? By adding moo. Like, the more research I do on spell duplication, the less I understand it. I have no clue how it works. I really don't. Now, you are doing 0 damage with your spark bolts at the moment, but what you can do instead is put lava explosion on your wand. The thing is, you probably shouldn't do this because you are firing 83 spark bolts with 60 lava explosions, and lava explosion shoots 8 copies of itself. Alright, we are going to need to do a little bit of math here, alright? A little bit of math. So each spark bolt has 60 lava explosions. Each lava explosion makes 8 copies, so 60 times 8 is 480 copies from a single spark bolt. And I'm firing how many spark bolts? How many was it again? 84. Which means you multiply it by 84. This might crash the game, by the way. So before I do this, before I shoot this wand, let me restart the game, because the game might crash. The game didn't crash, but it was definitely a lot of spark bolts. So if you use this kind of stuff, be mindful that it might destroy your computer or the game. As a very fun side thing, plasma cutter with plasma beam enhancer with aiming arc. I think that's a little bit too big. I think that might be a little bit too big plasma beam. A little bit too big. After all is said and done, when it comes to spell duplication and Greek letter spells and divide bys, I have no clue how it works. That is the lesson. I don't know how things work. Do it with ducks. Do it with ducks. Oh my god. Oh. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done this. Alright, here is the update on RAM. We are officially over 1500. Let it go. Bye, Noita. Man, now it's really quiet. The wand debugger. What? Alright. So there is 60 lava explosion, which all explode to 8, which is 480 ducks per duck, which is 252 ducks. Yeah, there's no way that's right.